Let's come to seated. And we'll breathe. We'll laugh it off and we'll breathe. So as we sit and ground, there we go. Yes, I see Kate's got that smile on her face there. Adriana, it's a pleasure to see you as well. We're going to breathe here. Slowing things down, just relishing in this nice, deep breathing. Really enjoying the feeling of a fully inflated breath. Feel it how it expands in all directions. It may even kind of stretch out the rib cage and the belly as you get to that full expansion. Noticing the body soften here as you exhale. And already within a few conscious breath cycles, we can feel the body dropping down. We can feel the mind settling. I always imagine a snow globe. You know, especially me this morning trying to get this set up with the internet going out. It was like, it's like someone shook my snow globe and now we're letting that snow settle. You can keep your eyes closed here for this next part. As we inhale, sweep the arms up into the sky. Exhale, hands come down through the center line. We'll do that just a few more times. Inhale. Exhale. Now as we inhale, we're reaching. Feel how the ribs widen from side to side. That will help the inflation of the lungs. Exhale. And let's do two more so that you can try to feel into that. So as we inhale, big sweep of the arms. Exhale. Last one here. And we breathe out. Good. Let's do a little side bending here. Inhale, big reach up. Exhale, we're bending over to the right side. Right hand will drop down. Left arm reaches up and over. And again, we're feeling the space that opens up in between the ribs here. So we can use a strong inhale to almost stretch from the inside out into the ribs there. Nice. Let's inhale. Come back to center, reach both arms up. Exhale, side bend over to the left. Hope everyone's feeling nice today. Had a good weekend. Although for some of us, every day is feeling like a weekend these days. Use that inhale. We're expanding here through the ribs. One more of those, breathing it in and breathing out. And hopefully all of you have time to go over the 1 o'clock mark, because I would like to do a full hour today for those of you that are here. Let's roll over the hands and knees. But if you need to take off a little earlier because we got started a little bit later today, totally fine. Let's do a little bit of cat-cow, moving through the spine here. We inhale, feel the spine arch. Exhale. Round it down. All right, so if you're new to this, we can just keep it this kind of arching and rounding at the same time. If you're a little bit more advanced, consider tucking the tailbone and sending that rounding up the spine as we articulate the spine. Good, and the same thing when we come back, I tip my hips forward. And then I imagine each vertebrae drooping and dropping. No, Schmarbles, we're just starting up class. It's like the first 5 or 10 minutes or so. I got started a little bit late because My internet was down right before class. So we've got a couple of options here. You can stay with that cat-cow. You can try to articulate, meaning we send the wave up one part at a time. Or we can go a little freestyle in the cat-cow. No problems, Marbles. Lurk away. So the freestyle is just, it's like your version of interpretive dance. You can go side to side, bring the head in with it. Right, so all different options to move your body however you're feeling today. I'm actually going to kind of bias into my left hip here and do a little cat-cow in my pelvis with my hips shifted over. Anybody in my stream yesterday knows I was talking, I've got some weird hip pain going on right here. And so I found that this orientation, kind of really shifting into that left hip and doing a little cat-cow through my pelvis, really helps to stretch that really peculiar area in my hip there. So let your body guide you. Notice where you need a little bit more attention, and that's what we come here to do. I'm giving you some ideas of how to move, and you can follow along, but you're also welcome to go off on your own a little bit and play and explore in your own body. Good. Let's come into our first downward facing dog. Oh, it didn't pop up on there. It's okay. My things aren't working. So as we send the hips up into the air, you can allow your knees to soften here. They don't need to be completely straight. Your heels don't need to be on the floor here. But feel strong arms that push the floor away. We're going to pedal the feet. Or any other movements that might feel nice for you. You can do that little cat-cow in this shape as well, that arching and rounding of the back. Feel free to try that in any shape, because being able to move and control our spine in all different positions is really helpful. Not only does it teach us how to keep the spine mobile and limber, but what you'll find is that as you begin to understand how to move the spine in different orientations, it requires not only core strength, but some subtle core awareness. So you can try that here. Really, my cat-cow is only coming from the pelvis here, but I feel this really interesting abdominal crunch as I tuck the pelvis and a nice little hamstring stretch as I tip the pelvis. The old tip and tuck. Good. So let's walk the feet. Actually, walk the hands backwards. So we're in a forward fold at the back of the mat here. I'm going to bring my chat so I can see y'all. And have your feet about hip distance apart. We're in this forward fold. Feel free to grab your elbows. You can shift side to side. And just let everything hang heavy here. You can shake your head yes. You can shake your head no. You can shake your head maybe. Whatever that looks like. But just allow gravity to kind of draw your cervical spine, your neck spine into a little bit of traction, so we get that space to open up. Good. So let's come back into our downward facing dog. We release the hands to the floor. We're walking everything forward or floorward. Okay, that was a bad joke. Gina, I got an idea for a command for my channel. I'll tell you at the end. I think it'll be good. It'll be in line with your little burp counter for your channel. So with your right leg, let's lift it up into the air. It's going to be straight initially, but then we're going to bend the knee. Okay. Now let me turn 180 so you can see. I should have just demoed on my left side first. We're bending the knee. We're taking that hip through a big circle here. Let's try 3 giant circles through the hip within the context of this downward facing dog. We're going slow. Feel all of the things. And when you've done your 3, let's reverse it. Scratch that. Reverse it. Was that Willy Wonka? There's 1. Here's 2. And 3. Good. Let's step that right foot forward between the hands. Drop the back knee down. Oh, nice. Is she watching my channel on hers channel? So we're in low lunge, just reaching tall here. Breathing in, getting a little bit taller out of the rib cage, right? As if somebody's clamped your ribs and pulled you upwards. Oh, sweet, Gina, that's awesome. And as we exhale, bring the hands to the floor, shift the hips back. And we're here for a quick amount of time because we'll be doing a little flow through this. Normally I stay here a bit longer. Let's inhale and exhale there. So on your next inhale, shift everything forward, rebend into that, reach arms tall. Exhale, hands down, shift it back. Inhale, rebend, reach arms tall. And exhale, hands come down. And Panda, it's totally okay that you're on Gina's channel today. We're all doing the same stuff, so it's all good. One more time here. Inhale, rebend, reaching tall. And exhale, keep the bend in that front leg. Okay? We're going to bring the hands down to the floor. If you have blocks, boop, boop, you can use them here if you would like. Now we're going to take the heel up towards the butt and back down. So notice as you pull that heel to the butt, your butt's going to want to kind of sink back to get closer to the heel. No, let's keep the hips heavy and forward driven as we do that. And you'll notice this hamstring, the back of the thigh here. All right, we're doing little curls. So as we inhale, we can pull that heel to butt, and then we exhale, release it. Let's do about 3, maybe even 4 more of those, going with the pace of your breath. Ooh, see how close you can get it, and you may feel a sensation of cramping. It may actually cramp. Are you doing it, Kate? I can't see. You are? Okay. I just see the front of you, so I can't tell what's going on behind your thigh, but you're probably killing it. Good. One more. And exhale. Good. We're going to plant the hands. Bring that back leg up. And we're going to step back into plank. If you can, to keep it a little easier, you can bring both feet down onto the floor. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, we keep that bottom leg, that right leg, hovering off the floor. Okay? Hips drop down, but leg lifts up so we really feel that booty squeezing. 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. If you want even more of a challenge, we bend the knee, try to kick that heel towards the sky. One more breath here. And exhale. Good. You can set that foot down. We're going to flow through a vinyasa. If you know the full deal, you can go for it. Otherwise, knees drop first, then chest and chin. Keep the elbows in nice and tight. Going to be up into the air here. Inhale, slide it forward. Slide it up. I realize that I'm facing away from my side cam, so this is not going to be a very flattering down dog. So I am immediately going to turn around. Pumpkin Panda's like, damn it. He noticed. We're just breathing here. Fingers are spread really wide. And it's as if we're grabbing into the floor. Okay? Not as if. We are grabbing into the floor. And that will help if you feel sometimes that you get a little wrist discomfort when you're in movements like this, downward facing dog, or any movements where we have pressure on the hands. If we're soft in the hands, all of that weight gets put into the wrist joint itself. If we spread the fingers, grab into the floor, now all of a sudden we have forearm muscles that are helping to support that joint. So that can be really helpful for people. Good. Downward facing dog. We're going to make our way to the top of the mat. Some of you have been coming, so if you know how to hop forward, by all means you can do that. I'm just going to tiptoe my feet to the top of the mat and come into my forward fold. On the inhale, slide the hands to the shins, lift halfway up. Exhale and fold. We use an inhale to come all the way up. Arms reach up towards the sky. And exhale, arms alongside the body. Good. Let's go through the other side. In fact, before we go to the other side, let's just feel Tadasana. So the feet are either hip distance apart or they are touching, arms down alongside the body. See what you notice here through the right side and through the left side. So we've only done the first side. So it's nice to check in and see how it's going there. Oop, sorry about that. I see what's going on. Let me just spotlight mine. I see that it keeps jumping to you, Adriana. So maybe a little bit distracting. If you're watching on Twitch, I've got people on Zoom here as well. So now that we have noticed, and perhaps you do feel a difference between the sides here, let's even things out. On your inhale, reach the arms tall, keep the ribs packed down, folding as you exhale. Use the in-breath to come halfway up. Exhale, plant the hands. We'll step back there. Hey, what's going on? Celsi, thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. If you know a full vinyasa, you can take it. Otherwise, we're going to keep it a little more mellow. Knees drop down. Yoga! Chin and chest drop right between the hands. Celsi raiding with a party of 14. That is super cool. Thank you all for showing up. I got started a little bit late today. Let's meet in our downward facing dog. Gridiron Gain, thank you for the follow. Nina, Era, 90, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Celsi, really, thank you for rating. I'm happy to have y'all here. Really nice. Oh, Band Slam, welcome. How you doing? Good to see you in here. So I got started a little late today. My internet crapped out just before class, unfortunately. Downward facing dog, that's right, you know it. So if you've never taken yoga before, welcome. I do these yoga playground classes Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon, assuming my internet is cooperating. My name is Tony, or T-Man. And we're just kind of going through the second side of things here, so feel free to jump in, but you might be a little uneven here. We're going to take that left leg up into the air. We usually stream at the same time, so I miss your streams. Yeah, exactly. So me starting late, it was all a plan that I hatched. T-Man! That's right, Band Slam. Feel free to call me that. So we start with our knee circles. We're going to bend the knee. I try to glue my heel to my butt in this instance. And we're taking that bent leg into a huge circle. Yeah, three-legged dog. Band Slam knows these moves. There's one. There's two. Let's go one more in this direction, and we'll reverse it. Put your thing down, flip it, and reverse it. We're going to reverse this circle. So go backwards. See how slow you can do it. See how big you can make it. Sup? What's up, old game lady? So old game lady is my sister, for anybody new. I think she's streaming right now. I think she's actually watching my stream and doing it on hers, which is awesome. Yeah! Nice, Ventana. What's going on? Welcome. All right, so we're going to take this left leg. We're stepping it between the hands. I'm going to do it in one fell swoop. Huh. But if you can't quite get there, you can use your hand to get it the rest of the way up. Back knee is going to drop down. We're in our... I can do pistol squats, Band Slam. I was doing those in my stream yesterday with some weight even. Oh, thank you, Gridiron. I aim to please. Hopefully you guys can see all those comments if you're watching on Zoom. Adriana, can you see the comments on the screen? Awesome. Yeah, so this is... I just got raided, so like 14 people just came in. It's a party up in here. So we're in our low lunge here, and like I mentioned on the other side, Moon, I know you know what's going on. You're an avid Twitcher now. So imagine somebody's got you clamped by the rib cage and pulling you upwards. So we get a little bit taller, the corset around the belly gets a little bit tighter, and we reach tall. Now as we exhale, bring the hands to the floor, shift the hips up and back. We got a half split.
Hell yeah, gridiron, I'll be there. I'm for hire. You can just hire me as your hype man. I'll just stand in the back, be like, woo! Nice. Gina, what clip is that? So normally I hold these two a little bit longer, but today we're going to flow through this a little bit more. So as we inhale, take your time with your inhale. We're inhaling, bending, shifting forward, reaching tall. Exhale, hands come down, and we shift back. And you'll notice the entire time it takes for me to inhale and exhale is how long I'm going to take in flowing through these. So slow your breaths down. Make the movement slow. This doesn't need to be like a CrossFit workout or anything. And although some of you may be into CrossFit, nothing wrong with that. But we're just getting a little more connected to our breath and our movement. Good, good, good. Inhale. I think this is our last one here. And exhale. Oh. So we're going to straighten the back leg, lift up that knee. We'll step into our plank. So this is just our normal plank. If you want to make things a little bit harder, that left foot will just hover off of the floor. Harder still, we bend that knee and kick the heel to the sky so that we feel that booty squeezing. 3 big controlled breaths here. Breathing in, breathing out. You can do it, gridiron. You can make them stay for longer in the chat thing. I'll hang out afterwards to chat and answer questions and stuff. I can show you how to do that. And everyone holding this is like, why is he talking to people? One more breath. Good. Let's straighten that leg. So we did the knees, chest, and chin. Here's the full vinyasa. So a chaturanga is forward and down. It's kind of like the first half of a push-up. We flip the toes, we inhale, straighten the arms, upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Woo! All right, so we should be feeling at least a little bit more even here. In fact, let's make our way to the top of the mat so we can come back into our mountain pose and just check in on that. So from here, you can hop forward to the top, or you can walk your feet forward to the top of the mat. Inhale. And exhale. Folding. We use the inhale to come all the way up. Gina, I want to know what clip you just posted. And exhale, arms alongside the body. Ah. So again, our mountain pose, Tadasana or Tadasana. Hips or feet are hip distance apart, or they can be in touching. Palms facing you. And we'll just breathe here and notice. You might even close, if you're following along, you may even close your eyes and just feel weight shifting around in through the bottoms of the feet so you can explore your base of support. Well, I get a little caught up in the chat here, in the Chaturanga. Oh, band slam, that's good. Yeah, gridiron, let me know. You can stop by anytime you want. Mountain pose. Oh, the purple mullet. Yes, Gina's got all the clips going. I love it. Okay, so Tuesdays tend to be a little bit more lower body focused, so we're going to be kind of heavy in the hips, heavy in the legs. So let's drop into our Malasana or our yoga squat. So we're going to open our stance to just slightly wider than hip distance, so maybe about shoulder width. I like a little bit of a toe out position here. And we're going to just drop it like it's hot. Drop those hips down, okay? I've got my elbows here. Now, this isn't an easy position for everybody. I realize that. To make this more accessible, we can let the heels pop up. Eventually, we want to be going for the heels to drop down or just have the heels resting on something. So either having your heels elevated, or you could even fold your mat up to create a little bit of a lift. And that little bit of a lift there, you can probably see it a little more clearly on this side cam here. That gives you enough of it changes the angles in the body enough to get you to be able to sit a little bit taller here. So elbows are wedging those hands apart. Excuse me, elbows are wedging the knees apart here as we try to sit a little bit taller. Just a little bit taller. These feelings inside my hips. Okay, so we've got this wedge action going, but we're going to get a little more active through our hips. Feel your, how do I want to say this nicely? If you had to fart, try to hold it in. Okay, I'm waiting for my students to break on Zoom there. I was just waiting for the reactions. But that action of like holding in, having to go to the bathroom, or like if you were at a wedding, maybe it's your wedding and you really you had like bean burrito the day before, right? That's not where you want to let one rip. So we kind of lift up through that pelvic floor, lock it in. We're going to pull the knees away from the elbows, lift the chest, holding 10, 9. I'll just catch up on chat while we're in agony here. Nice, right on, Celsi. Thank you for hanging out. 3, 2, and 1. Yes, band slam. I can do a handstand. I'll probably do one after the class. So we'll let those hips or those knees rest back on the elbows there. Cool. Let's do some more active work. We're going to come back to this squat at some point and see if we've made any changes there. So let's reorganize. I'm going to unroll my mat. I'm going to bring my hands down and let's lower all the way down onto our belly. If you want an added challenge, do it as slowly as you can. Band slam, that's pistol squats are an awesome goal. We'll talk after. I can show you some variations to work on, but I'm sure you got it. All right, so we're down onto our belly here. We're going to open the arms out to a T. I'm going to demo on my left side first because it's closest to the cameras so that you can see what's happening. We will bend that left knee. Flex the toes so that we're reaching up towards the sky via the heel. Now keep your pelvis kind of tucked under you, like you're trying to press your navel up towards your spine. And while you're doing that, then try to kick your heel to the sky. All right, we're going to feel the hamstring. We're going to feel the glutes. This was somewhat inspired by Pilates Mama SD in her Pilates class last night, but I do tend to teach this in my class. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. So as you press down into the floor with your hands, start to open your knee off to the side. And as the knee opens out to the side, the heel will kind of rotate downward. So we're getting external rotation of the hip. Now I'm going to try to bring my knee up towards my elbow. Oh, and I'm looking to land my shin as parallel to the floor as possible. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's a lot easier to just bring the knee up and let the heel drop because gravity really helps us there. It's a whole different story to get this active external rotation so that the knee and the ankle land at the same time or as damn close to it as you can. Okay? So try that a couple times. And coming back is equally as difficult, and it really helps to have that downward pressure of the arms into the floor. So I'm going to push down through my arms, brace my belly by tucking my pelvis underneath. I'm lifting the shin. Oh my gosh. And then I'm bringing it back to parallel thighs. Okay, let's try that about 3 times here. I just want to check on my zoomies, see how y'all are doing here. So this is a partial hip car. We're working on the back half of the hip's function of extension, of external rotation through the hip. If you're hearing those terms and going, what the heck is he talking about? It's all good. How are we feeling there? Nice. There you go, Kate. That was pretty good. Adriana, how you feeling there? Are you able to get it? Good. Thumbs up. Sweet. Let's see you come back. Adriana, I see your question about this pod. I'll answer it at the end of the class. Yes, super hard is indeed right. And, okay, Kate, you were saying you feel your shins burning in that squat. Let's talk about that when we come back to the squat after this. Pumpkin Panda's back. Welcome. He's a raid. Well, one-man raid. I appreciate that, Panda. All right, did we do our 3 on that one side? Look at this. I demoed it, and I'm like, yeah, and then you go ahead and do that. It's okay, because I'm going to do the other side here. And actually, I'll face the other direction, so not only will you be able to see a side shot, but you'll be able to see what's going on from the back side. And, Panda's here, so he'll be excited about this one. Panda, I'm only kidding, buddy. All right, so let's go over to the right side. Arms are still out to a T. I don't have much room under here. We're bending our right knee, okay? Brace your belly. So I'm going to try to, it's like you're scraping your belt buckle up towards your face, okay? That's a different cue for the same action through the belly so that we firm up through the belly, okay? As I flex the toes and kick my heel to the sky, the thigh may just barely lift up off the floor, and we're feeling hamstring and glutes, okay? Downward force into the floor with the arms, and we're aiming that knee out off to the side of your mat. As the knee goes out, shin drops down, ankle bone gets a little closer to the floor. I'm looking to land my knee and my ankle at the same time. All right, so if you're trying this and you're looking to get that knee up towards your elbow, but the ankle is way up here, let's prioritize a parallel shin landing versus knee height, if that makes sense. So if you can only go about halfway up, where you can have the knee and the ankle land at the very same time or as close to it as possible, do that versus trying to get way up here, okay? Because that's just a really hard position for the hips to be in and do external rotating. Hey, Amber Glow, welcome. Rating with a party of 13. Wow, welcome. I appreciate it. We're just doing some gnarly active hip mobility here. You came in on the hard stuff. Froggy time, yeah. So we're just doing some active external rotation here. So to get out of this position, we've really got to push down through our arms, strong arms. Brace through the belly, right? We're scraping that belt buckle up to the top of the mat. Then we lift up. We rotate that ankle to the sky. Knee comes back. Oh, why, thank you, Doom Kips Reborn. Doom Kips Reborn. All right, we're going to do 2 more of those. All right, stay with me here. Try not to arch through the low back so much. That's why we've got that belt buckle scraping cue, so that we keep that tailbone tucked underneath us. Brace it, lock it in with your strong core muscles, and we do it. We lift up, we bring that knee out. So our goal here, not to get the knee as high as possible, but to get it up and then try to rotate that so that the knee and the ankle bone land at about the same time. Very hard to do. So if your leg is barely doing anything and it feels like a world of effort, you're probably doing it right. Hey, I'm Jack from Lost. Kate, we need to go back to the island. Kate, we need to go back to the island. I don't know if you watched Lost, but they made a Lost reference here. They said I look like Jack, so he's always trying to convince Kate to go back to the island. Of course, I watched all of Lost. A little disappointed at the end, but all right. So have we done like 90 or 100 of these yet? I hope so. Yes. Oh my gosh, little Susie. This is perfect. This would be like for rock climbers, this is a great position because if you've got to stay flat to the wall and you've got to do like a high step to get to your next foothold, this is an awesome drill. But for anyone, whether you're an athlete, a recreational person, somebody who just has hips, this is a good drill for you. Disappointed in the ending. So to return home, set the pelvis first, right? We want to scoop that pelvis underneath, downward pressure. We lift and we rotate. Good. Let's bring that down. You can even shake out your legs if you want. I, myself, am going to push back into a child's pose. Yeah, somebody who has hips. If you got hips, this is a good one for you. So we're in our child's pose. Just letting those hips chill for a minute. What time is it? So if you guys are just coming in, I started like 15 minutes late. My internet was like, oh, so you were planning on streaming today, like your normally scheduled class? Yeah, so I think I'm going to go out. I think I've got to step out for a minute. So my internet was down for like the first 20, 30 minutes of this class. So it's all good. We're here now. We're having a good time. Double rated. So as promised, we're going to get back into the yoga squat, Malasana, to see what that work did for our pelvis. Or not our pelvis, our hips, because we are people with hips. So from our downward facing dog, we'll inhale forward to tabletop. Curl the toes under, exhale up and back. Hey, Doom Kips Reborn, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I'll try to do as many Jack impersonations as possible. So we're going to make our way to the top of the mat. Actually, you know what? Let's walk it back to our squat from here. I like that move. So bring your feet as wide as your mat here. Okay. We're going to shift forward into a plank on your in-breath. As you exhale, bend the knees. Keep the knees hovering low. We're going to walk our feet back until I'm at the back of the mat again, this yoga squat. So we were here just a minute ago before we did the active hip stuff. And Kate, you mentioned you feel the shins burning when you're doing this. And that's actually a good sign. You know, when you feel burning in your body, that's a good sign. I'm kidding. That is not a global statement. But what she's likely feeling, these muscles that run up the front of the shin here, this anterior tibialis, help to, if you look in this side cam, they're closing this ankle angle. And a lot of people have trouble in this because they don't have that sort of ankle flexibility. Now, that's a broad statement. It's not true for everybody. However, if you can try to lift your toes, the toes won't necessarily lift, but you can see I'm actually being pulled forward. I'm utilizing these muscles up the shin to pull my knees further over the toes. And I know people have heard no knees over the toes, but it's just, that's a global statement that isn't always true. In this instance, to be able to sit in this deep squat position, the knees have to be over the toes, especially if you have long legs like this guy. Okay? So let's try our little drill again. And if you were just joining, some of the modifications I made for this were let your heels pop up if they feel like they need to pop up. Or as I did in the other one, I rolled up my mat. So I had a little bit of a lift, a little bit of a wedge for just my heels. And so that assists with us accommodating that ankle angle that is important. Hopefully you can see it a little bit more clearly here. Man, this is perfect. Think this will help conditioning your shins from running? Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you for saying that, Doom. Really good if you're a runner, because if we're running up or down, inclines or declines, this muscle either pulls our toes up as we're running uphill, or it puts the brakes on as those feet are not hitting flat surface, but they're going downward. So yes, if you feel shin splints, this is an excellent little exercise. Yes, Deneve, on it, my good man. Great minds thinking alike here. So here's our drill that we did on the other side, and I'll keep my heels elevated. I'm going to use my elbows to prop my hips open, or my knees wide, I should say. Now, I was being a little crude. I made a little flatulence joke earlier, but imagine you're stopping yourself from going to the bathroom. We get that little lift of the pelvic floor. In yoga, it's called the Mulabanda. And from here, you're trying to pull your knees off of your elbows. We're going to hold it for 10 seconds here. 9, 8. If you want to make it harder, arms reach up in a straight line. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Let's bring it down. Let's bring the knees down to the floor. Let's come into our child's pose again. Oh. Hi. Oh, I was like, who is that? I have my Zoomies unmuted here so I could hear her on the phone. What's up, Beach-Chen? Shout out to Beach-Chen. I don't know if my shout outs are working right now. Oh, it didn't go through. All right, if I've got a mod here, shout out to Beach-Chen and Amber Glow Yoga and Celtsy. All coming into my channel here. Really appreciate you guys. All right. So I like to go a little side to side here, especially if the outer hips are feeling a little tight here. With the air horn, yeah. You know what? I'm so bummed right now because Amber Glow and Beach-Chen, I have custom shout out buttons and you guys are on it and I can't even use it right now. Such a bummer. Oh, thank you for the plants, the plant compliment. I've been going a little plant crazy these days. Moon, you're missing some good chat in here. Or Kate, I got to call you Kate here. It's just you and Zoom now. You might as well just come over to Twitch at this point. Good. Yeah, B-Chen, I definitely just hate you guys. That's why I didn't have my stuff. All right, so let's come forward. We still got some good hip loving to do, all right? So let's do, all right. I'm calling an audible here. Yeah, we're going to sit onto our hips here. I'm not flowing through this with a lot of grace right now, but I'll leave the grace to Grace Yoga. So we're sitting on our tush. We're going to bring the hips out wide here. We're going to go through a little bit of the 90-90 sequence, continuing on with our active hip work, okay? So as you can see, I'm sitting with really wide legs here. My shins are parallel to one another. I've got my toes pointing out east and west. This becomes a lot more accessible when you're leaning back with the hands behind you and the chest tall. So let's all start here. Now, when we flex our toes, we create this little heel ball that we can pivot on. And just kind of go back and forth and see how your hips are feeling right now. If you want to try something a little bit more advanced, we sit up a little bit taller. Going even further still, we can reach forward here. Pumpkin Panda. Moon coming in. You're on 2 platforms now. She's on Zoom and Twitch. Straddling the line there. I like it. What we're doing right here is we're seeing how much access we have to external rotation of the hip. My hip's rotating outward, or this hip is internally rotating. And as we go to the other side, we get the opposite, right? So now my right hip is externally rotated, left hip is internally rotated. Let's land here on that right side. So bring your knees over to your right. We're going to land in this 90-90 shape. You can see where it gets its name from the 90-degree angles that we create in our knees. All right, stay with me here. So if any of these variations, they're made easier by elevating your hips with a yoga block or a blanket or a pillow, or you can put your hands behind you, okay? Put your hands behind you. So this first drill, we're going to sit up as tall as you possibly can, either with hands behind you or maybe hands or even reaching in front of you. These are weird shapes in the body, so if your body feels a little tight or stretched or maybe even the early onset of a cramp, it might happen. Just warning you, okay? So we sit up tall with an in-breath. As we exhale, we're rotating counterclockwise towards your back leg. And I'm feeling a little bit of a squeeze through my obliques, a little bit of an added stretch through my inner groin. We're going to breathe here, get a little taller. Exhale, see if there's any more rotation, maybe even a little bit of a forward lean. Let's do one more breath cycle here. And exhale. Woo. Good. Let's come back to center here. Now we're rotating so that our sternum, our chest bone, or our heart is in line with that right thigh. I'm going to be talking to this side cam here so you can see me a little bit better. And We're going to prioritize keeping a tall, straight spine, and I want you to lean forward a little bit. This isn't about how close can your face get to the floor. It's about, think of the hip angle instead. With a straight spine, how far can I close this hip angle leaning forward? Okay, so we're going to feel a stretch very similar if you're familiar with yoga. This is very similar to pigeon pose. It's a little bit of a modified variation. I do it in my class all the time. We're going to do some active stuff. Don't go into sinking into the passive juiciness just yet. We're going to do some work first, and it's going to be so much more satisfying to get into a nice passive pigeon. So stay with me for a few moments. So as we're in this little bit of a hinge, we're experiencing the stretch through the outer hip. Maybe you feel it in your outer right butt. The knee, imagine there's a bug under that knee, and you're just going to smush it. Ugh. Well, that's not very ahimsa. So maybe you're just pinning a strap for a game of tug of war, right? Notice how when you press that knee down into the floor, it either gets closer to the floor or we create a little muscular squeeze in your body. That intensity ramps up a little bit, okay? The harder we push down, the lighter we can get into the hands because they don't need to support us anymore. The muscles of the hip are supporting us in this position. So maybe you go up onto your fingertips. Some of you may even be able to come up, hands across the chest. Getting even harder because we're putting weights up at the top of the lever arm. I've got hands overhead here, okay? Now we're going to push down hard enough to bring you back up to that vertical position here, okay? So we're going to rep that motion a couple of times. Let me show you what it looks like here. I'm going to inhale, get nice and tall. I prefer the arms across the chest. It's a little bit more mellow, a little bit more doable. As we exhale, keep that long spine. We're hinging forward over the shin. Inhale to come back up. Nice. Exhale. Ah. We'll do about 5 of these. Inhale, coming back up. See if you can get lower, but not by rounding down through your spine. It's like you're trying to touch your belly button to the floor in front of the shin, right? If we round forward, the belly button actually gets further from the shin. But if I send my chest forward, now the belly button is closer. I think we have 2 more. I'm exhaling to lower down. Inhaling to come back up. Last one here. And let's bring it on up. Very nice. Almost to the passive stuff. We got one more little active drill, and I promise you, this is not going to feel great, but the juicy stuff that follows will feel really good, and you'll be really happy that you did it. So here, we use the hands. I'm framing my thigh, so I've got hand on either side of that front thigh. We're pushing down into the floor. I'm going to flex my toes really, really hard here. Good, you can see me in this camera here. I've got this shin that's parallel. Now as I push down, I feel pressure into my arms. I'm bracing through my belly here. My goal is to lift my entire shin up off of the ground. Now, it may not come up for you, it may not lift up off the ground, but if we had a scale under the leg and that scale read even 5 pounds lighter, you're doing great, okay? We're going to do a lift and hold for 10 seconds. We do that 3 times. And then the juiciness, okay? Stay with me. Hands push down. Flex the toes. We're bracing. Breathing in. Exhale. We're going to lift and hold. Notice my body rolled back a little bit, so I'm going to try to come forward. It should be maximum effort for very little external lifting that's going on. 5, 4. Ooh, try to lift that ankle even higher, just the ankle. 2, 1, and we'll set that down nicely. Okay, so let's just talk about that for a moment while we have a second or two to rest. So when we look at improving our joint mobility, we're thinking less about what muscle are we stretching, rather what muscles are working to create the joint action. So for example, in the pigeon, we are closing this thigh and belly angle, and we're letting gravity kind of help us do that. Okay? Nice. Right on, Band Slam. Go eat some food. But what we're working here is we're working the muscles that actually shorten this angle in this direction, right? Not from the top down, but from the bottom up. And our muscles that do that are already in a pretty shortened state, so asking them to lift up that leg is like, what more do you want from me? There's always a crux in this class. There is, yes. All right, so we're going to do this twice more. Deneve, I know you're BJJ. Excellent move for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because if you needed to pull your leg out and recover guard, right, you have knee flexion, external rotation to try to get that knee up and get a knee shield going, right? So you're not having the assistance of gravity to shorten this angle for you. Okay, anybody else who does some grappling martial arts, or for anyone with hips. That's the theme. This is a great exercise for anyone that has hips. 2 more rounds as promised. Flex the toes. Sit up tall. We're pushing down. Really important that we brace through the belly. So I'm trying to push my navel back towards my spine. Here we go. We're lifting and holding for 10 seconds, okay? So it may be easy to just lift the knee. That's not what we're after. I really want this. And I know you guys are lifting and holding, so I'm still counting. 5, 4, 3, a little bit higher, 2, and 1. We're setting that down. Shake it out. We've got 1 more, and then we'll do the juicy. But we've got the other side. We've got to do the other side. I'm just saying. All right, last time. 3rd time's a charm, so I hear. We're pushing down. We're flexing the toe. Belly is strong. Here we go. Lift and hold. To make this harder, we actually lean our chest forward. You'll notice that the shin gets closer to the ground, but dang it, I feel it a lot more. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, you've been waiting for this moment, this magic moment. All we can do is go into, if you want to just drape down over that leg and go into the passive goodness, you can do that. If you want a more traditional pigeon pose, back leg just straightens. We roll that hip up and over. And there's our stretch there. I'm going to stay in the modified because I can still get so much of that nice hip stretch by allowing my hips just to lean over to the right a little bit. I'm going to grab a sip of water. So good. And I'm happy that you all are here. I didn't think I was going to be able to teach class today with my internet being... it was misbehaving today, so I'm glad to be here. Happy to have you all here. Very, very good. So we will do a little bit more hip stretching on the passive side here after we do the other side. So to come out of this, we can do an active transition. If you're like, no, I don't want to do that, that's fine. But if you want to feel a little more work through your hip right now, we're sitting up tall, we're reaching the arms straight forward, flexing the toes, and I'm going to keep my right knee pressed down, open that left knee, like I'm prying open a clamshell, as far as it'll go without letting that right leg follow. And I'm squeezing, and then as soon as I can't any longer, I let that right leg come up. Oh. My good, I see Kate there, or Moon, I'm sorry. I see Moon over here on the Zoom screen like, whew. Let's rinse that out, shall we? Drop the hands back behind you. Let's go in and out. You'll probably feel one direction feels a bit more easy than the other. And we're getting ready to shift over to our left side. Left side is a strong side. Not for me. It's that, what's that movie? Friday Night Lights or something? Left side, strong side. Getting all the movie references today. All right, so our first part of this, we're going to inhale, sit up nice and tall. Again, you can use a hand on the floor, especially if your body feels pitched over to the side. That's relatively normal if you're new to these movements. And it's an expression of tightness through the inner thigh. Because as the inner thigh of that right leg opens up, it allows us to sit more vertical and more, we can stack the shoulders over the hip more easily. So if you're not quite there, let me show you what I mean. Some of you might be kind of pitched over to the side here. Totally fine. Okay, we just use our hands for now. So regardless of where you are, we'll try to straighten the spine a little bit more with an inhale. And exhale, we're going to rotate clockwise. You can see I'm doing it with a little bit of that lean there. But if you can, sit shoulders over the hips, then we rotate back. Stay here. We use an inhale. See if you can get any taller. Exhale. See if there's any more rotation that you can get. And we'll do that one more time. Breathing in. Pulled up towards the ceiling. Exhale. Ugh. So these oblique muscles here, these core muscles on the side, help to draw us into rotation. And that might be what you're feeling working here. Good. Let's unwind out of this. And now we're going to square up to that left thigh. I'm going to change the angle in this one so you can maybe get a different perspective, maybe pick up on something that wasn't as clear in the first time around. So we sit up tall, spine straight. We're hinging forward. We're just feeling the stretch for a moment. It's not fully passive, but it's not fully active as of yet. Keeping the spine long. All right, so now we feel that strap. Do I have a strap handy? I have a band handy. So imagine you've got a resistance band like I do, and it's underneath your thigh, or your knee specifically, and somebody's trying to tug it away from you. You're pushing down to keep that strap pinned, okay? And you'll start to feel that outer hip is like, whoa, hey, hello. Hello now. You got missed in chat? What? I hope not. I've seen your chat. I've tried to say hello to you. But as we push down, you'll feel the hips take over holding your weight, so your hands don't have to do as much or anything if you're able to pick up your feet here. You can see in the side cam, I've got a pitch forward. Now as I push down, it brings me up to vertical position here. We're going to rep this about 5 times. I'm inhaling, getting tall. Exhale. Pumpkin, what are you doing? What are you saying? And bring it back up, right? So we're trying to keep the spine long. I'm looking to aim my sternum or even my belly button out in front of my shin there. Oh, you know what? He may be lurking. He may be lurking. B-Chen might be lurking. You can, Doom, if you go into your options, you can change it from a robot to a monkey. And it may only be with Prime. I don't know. So we're doing about 5 of these. I lost count. Hey, Chosen One, welcome. Thank you for the follow, by the way. I appreciate that. We're kind of finishing up our hip stuff here. I think I've done about 5 of these, maybe. Kate, how many have we done? You're like, we've done enough. Okay, we're doing 4. That's perfect. We're going to do our 5th one here. Good. As you can tell, this is a very lighthearted yoga class. It's all good, though. We're here. We're here with the right intention, which is exploring our bodies, accepting where we are, getting connected with ourselves and community. So it's all good. All right, so one more active drill before the juicy passive stuff. Deneve, we got this one coming up. I don't know which side you play guard on, but it's good to do both sides.
So we're going to push down into the floor, really push the floor away from you so the arms are locked. What we're trying to do is minimize compensating through the trunk as we try to lift up our leg here. We're going to flex these toes hard. Try to lift the shin as high as you can, okay? It's going to be maximum effort for minimal liftoff, ideally, okay? So if you feel that, that's a good combination. All right, here we go. 10-second hold once we lift off. So I'm pushing down. I'm bracing in my belly. Here we go. Lift and hold. 10, 9, striving to get this ankle bone even higher than the knee. It will be very hard to accomplish, but try as you may. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Set it down nicely. It didn't do anything wrong to you. It'll be really tempting to just go bleh, and let it go. But there's, in doing these movements where we're ramping up in and out of tension, we're actually teaching the body finer motor control, because we're working on teaching the body how to use more or less force depending on the situation. Okay, that takes practice, and we can get more connected with our body when we do that kind of stuff. Alrighty, let's try round 2 of 3. We're pushing down. We're lifting up, and we're going for it. 10. So it's going to be easy. You can see where that knee is higher than the ankle. We're doing our darndest to get that external rotation in this hip flex position. 5, 4. This is live. Marty in Infi 87. 3, 2, 1. And we're setting that down. Give it a shake. Give it a breather. We're going to do one more. Marty NF 87, welcome. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, we're getting to the end of this yoga class. My name is Tony, or T-Man. I do these yoga playground classes every Tuesday, Thursday at noon Pacific time. So we're going to do one more of these, active hip, and then we'll go into the pigeon stretch. Flexing the toes, pushing down in the hands, navel in. We're lifting and we're holding. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's set it down. So let's go into our passive pigeon. So here you can just drape your body over, and I'm cracking up because Marty just asked if I've ever let one rip while doing yoga, and the answer is most definitely yes. I was even like making a fart joke earlier. Hasn't happened in a while, but I've definitely done it. Going up into like a full back bend, it was like, oh. I was front and center in class too. I've totally done it while teaching as well. It's embarrassing, but you learn to just laugh it off. It happens. Better out than in. Oh my God, Amber Glow, so true. By the way, I wish my shout outs were working. Can you shout yourself out, Amber Glow? As weird as that may feel. Or any of my if there are any mods in here. Pumpkin, are you here? Especially with power yoga, yeah. Power yoga plus Mexican food the night before is not a good combo. Not a good combo there. So I'm in more of this modified pigeon where I'm just leaning over the front leg in this 90-90. I like it for me and for most people because it closes that gap of the hip. Usually when we're in more of a traditional pigeon with that back leg straight, there tends to be this space here. So in classes you may hear teachers cueing to put a block or a bolster under the hip there. And it really, really does help in aiding in that stretch there. But I'm just going to go propless here and hinge forward. Got to head out. Thank you, Amber Glow. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate you being here. We were just speaking highly of your ASMR streams in, I think it was Pilates Mama's class. So thank you for doing that. I love tuning in. I'm just like, I melt. You have such cool instruments and props
to do with your ASMR, so I really appreciate that. I will shout you out next time, I promise. My buttons aren't working right now. Shout out to Amber Glow Yoga. She teaches some awesome yoga here on Twitch. I work out as well, Marty. I am a full-time personal trainer, so my other streams on here tend to be me doing calisthenic ring kettlebell workouts, and then I do these yoga classes twice a week. And then every other week we do a yoga DJ beer event where we're just drinking beer, teaching yoga. My buddy's live DJing here. It's really fun. This is all yoga, baby. But there's a lot to be said about using body weight as a strength tool. I think if you're smart about it, you can get a lot done with it. All right, let's come on back up here. We got to transition out of this here. So we drop the hands back behind us. If we want to make this more active, arms reach forward. We're flexing the toes. Now we're keeping the left knee pinned to the floor. We're almost done here, almost out of the works. We're going to open that right knee as much as it'll go. Notice I'm not letting that left knee come up. I'm really trying to pull them apart like opposing magnets. And when I absolutely can't keep them apart any longer, I sink back to that middle section. Let's rinse it all away. Hands back behind you. In and out. Hopefully that should feel a little bit more even, a little bit more release. Beautiful. Let's bring soles of the feet together. I've got soul, but I'm not a soldier. In all of these seated poses, or a lot of them, bringing your hips up off of the ground with a block or folded blanket or pillows can really help make these more accessible if this feels like a lot. So just know that there are options out there. We're going to connect anywhere on the shin, the ankle, the feet, the big toe. We're inhaling, getting tall. And as you exhale, you can come forward here. Sometimes I'm a stickler about like really straight spine and hinge. But here, if you want to, you can round forward. Hey, Marty, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. And I will be sticking around after class here on Twitch. Just do Q&A, just hang out with you guys. If you have any questions about yoga poses or stretches or strengthening exercises, I'm here for you. Like you, right? Yes. Yeah, exactly. Bandslam's got some guns going on. Bandslam dropped it in the Discord. Her progress pics. You're looking strong. Deneve dropped some cool pics of his home gym, which he's going to be up in with a set of rings. And Marty, to answer your question, I've been doing a lot of stuff on the rings lately on stream. I think it's just an amazing tool. They're relatively cheap. You can put them up almost anywhere. And there's so many things to do if you know how to regress them. So I try to show options of like how to build strength to get to some of the more advanced crazy moves that you see in CrossFit or the Olympics, because that is not a realistic starting point for most mortal humans. But there's plenty of ways that we can make them easier or more appropriate for your skill or strength level. So let's come up from this. We're going to take this shape and make it a little wider. This one will feel really good in the hips. So I've got more of a diamond shape in the legs here. Okay, knees pressed down. Again, we connect anywhere along the calf, the ankles, or the feet. Let's inhale tall. Exhale, hinge forward. Hinging like a ninja. So Marty, do you exercise? Do you move your body around? And if so, what kind of things do you do? Ooh, yeah, this one's a different type of a stretch. We've changed the angle of the hip, and so we can feel some different sensations there. Any other movements that you might feel come up? Like me here, I just felt like this little bit of a neck roll from side to side felt really good. And I always encourage that within the context of these poses, if your body is
curious about moving in another way or adding something in, please do that. That's why I've named this class Yoga Playground, because we're here to play and explore. So taking a tangent, your own movement tangent, is totally fine by me. And you may see me doing it too, just kind of exploring. And that's part of, in yoga they talk about building your own practice. You know, we go to class, we do exactly what the teacher says, we start to learn the poses, and then you begin, as you become more advanced, I don't want to say you don't need the teacher anymore, but you understand what your body needs for that practice. So it may not be an hour class or a 90-minute class, but it might be just 20 minutes of some poses that you know feel really good in your body. And then when you practice listening into your body, you start to get more familiar with, oh, this is what I need today because I'm sore from this, or I traveled here and I was sitting in a car. And so that's what we mean as yoga teachers when we're saying we're creating your own yoga practice. Go and explore. You're the only one in your body, so that's part of it. Good. Let's come up from here. We're sitting upright. Let's straighten out the left leg. Bring the right knee into the chest, and then bring that right foot up and over. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of a seated spinal twist before we get down onto the floor. Left arm reaches up, right hand is behind you. As you exhale, easier variation comes in front of the shin and hooks it and helps us turn. More advanced, just because it takes a little bit more flexibility, is that we hook that elbow on the outside of the thigh and use that pressure to turn us here, and then I can say hi to you on the side cam. Hello. Hello. Hello, side cam, my old friend. It's nice to see you again. And while you're twisted, here's a great way to explore the breath and how all of it works together. Try to take a big inhale here. You may notice it's a bit more challenging because we've rotated these muscles of the abdominal, the diaphragm, the rib cage. It's all compressed and wound up, so it's not going to allow us to expand as much. But we can kind of breathe into that. We can use the strength of our inhale to get a little bit more out of that stretch. Hey, little Susie, welcome back. Good to see you in here. Let's unwind. Let's go to the other side. So actually, even before we do that, simply take your outer heel to that straightened left leg. If you need a slight bend, totally fine here. We're just going to do a little easy figure 4 forward fold. So I'm flexing my toes with that ankle bone on top of the left knee, and I'm going to hinge forward. You might even put the weight of your elbow and your upper body onto that right knee as you hinge forward. Okay. And again, if this is too much to sit with your legs straight, you can have a slight bend in it. Good. We're not here for too long, though, because we're going to inhale, come on up, straighten that right leg. We'll do the other side. Break on through to the other side. Left knee comes in, left foot steps over the right. You had to go AFK to deal with some stuff. No problem. Working on an eating and a workout plan. Nice, Susie. I know you said you were getting back into it, and eating is part of it. Left hand is going to drop on the ground. Inhale, reach up through the right arm. As you exhale, it comes across. That's level 1. Level 2, if you've got the rotation, I'm going to hook that elbow on the outside and be in this twist here. So I'm using the pressure of my elbow pushing into my thigh to leverage me into a little bit of a deeper twist. And again here, we notice how our twists feel. We notice how our breath is limited in these rotations. And each exhale, you may notice, softens you into that rotation a little bit more.
Let's unwind out of this. Before we unstack that foot, we're just going to slide the ankle bone to just above the knee in the fleshy part, not right on the kneecap itself, but just in the fleshy part of the quad. And I'm going to drop my hip there. Some of you may just want to push down and stay upright here. If you want to lean forward into it, feel free. This is a lot going on. We've got a hip stretch plus a hamstring stretch. So work with what you got here. There's all sorts of levels in this class. I tried to teach to total beginners all the way up to people that practice yoga or teach yoga, I'm sorry. Sometimes I'll have yoga teachers in here as well. And what happens is when you get more advanced, you just know how to make simple movements more challenging for yourself, right? Because we have that heightened level of awareness. Let's come on up. I think we've gone so long. Sorry, Moon, we've kept you here for so long, but fear not. We're going into our Shavasana. So if you're new to yoga, Shavasana tends to be the last pose in each yoga class, and it looks like adult nap time. It is our relaxation pose. It's called corpse pose, actually. And what we do is we lie flat. If you're sitting in your chair, maybe you just sit back and close your eyes here for a few moments. And we let things go here. Hopefully not any gas, if you're still here, Marty. But hey, this would be where it might happen if you're just totally zenned out right now. But we use these last few minutes here to settle into this shape. The goal here isn't to fall asleep. The goal is to be here, observe what you notice. What does the breath do on its own? How does the body feel? All of that hip work that we just did through the class. Can you feel what it feels like now? Maybe you feel more connected to your hips. So it's kind of a paradox. We're actively doing nothing, if that makes sense. We're trying to let go of any extra tension that our body may be holding on to. And you may not even realize that that you may be in a state of just holding on to muscular tightness. As we settle here, each breath out softens you into the floor or into your chair. Imagining your body like, I don't know, like lead jello. It's just flopping around, but it's heavy too. The floor or the chair is supporting us. We don't have to work to hold anything. And if you're used to Shavasana, the more advanced option is to be observing the mind. This starts to get into meditation. Not that we need to quiet the mind, but just notice when the mind begins to drift out of the moment into planning the rest of your day or dwelling on what happened over the weekend. And then we can just gently say, oh, that's not right here, right now. Let me just bring my attention back to my breath or to my body. Something that is happening right here, right now, this present moment. And that can be intimidating if we're new to meditation. We may have this thought that it is silencing the mind, which is so hard to do. That'd be like trying to do an advanced gymnastics move on day one. But when we give the the mind a task, a simple task in the present to focus on, that can be a lot easier. What does it feel like to breathe in? What does it feel like to breathe out? That's happening right now. We begin to feel our breath deepening here. Moving the fingers and the toes ever so slightly. And maybe those movements creep up into the wrists, into the ankles, and into the elbows and the knees, kind of like we're waking up out of sleep. Now, as we take an inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Open the mouth. Let's do that one more time. We inhale, reach up long. Wonderful. Bring the knees into the chest. And allow your body to roll towards one side. We're going to come up to a seated position. And we're going to end with 3 rounds of Om. Shavasana, so good. Yeah, me too, Doom. I'm really good at that pose. As we all hopefully should be. But I will tell you, we joke that it's like sleepy time pose. Some people have a very hard time in Shavasana. That stillness, that being still or closing of the eyes is challenging for people because they're so used to being on the go and moving. And sometimes there's even some like trauma related with closing your eyes and like being around people. So it doesn't come as easy to everyone as you might think. So we're in a comfortable seated position. We're going to end today with 3 Om chants. O-M is how it's usually spelled, but it sometimes can be spelled A-U-M. And I like that spelling of it because it gives a little bit more accurate depiction of the shape of the sound that we go through. So it has kind of 3 distinct parts. Ah, U, Aum. Right? So as we go through it, we notice that the vibration changes from the chest into the throat and then up into the head. You can join in with me if you'd like. You can just watch. I'll be playing, this is called a Shruti box, and it's just a pump instrument, sort of like an accordion. It blows the air through and the reeds vibrate and they gives me a note. You probably can't hear it as well as I can, but this is the note that we're going to be singing. So the hands can be on the thighs, they can be in the heart. We're going to take 1 breath cycle together before we start our 3 Om chants. Let's inhale. Exhale. Breathe it all out. Big inhale for our first Om. I want to thank all of you for being here, whether you were taking class or just lurking, or if you came in with the raid. I appreciate all of you being here so much. I teach these classes every Tuesday and Thursday at noon, and I'm going to hang out with you all here for probably another hour or so. Thank you so much. Namaste.
when the crowd goes wild.